I want to talk to you about how to use Apple Pay online and in stores. And so here's a preface of to this conversation. So, how do you use Apple Pay online and in stores? It's really important to understand that Apple Pay is actually a secure way to digitally send and receive money, but there are still risks to using a digital wallet. So, I want to first talk to you about how to actually use Apple Pay on iPhone. By the way, it's important to remember that Apple Pay offers users a fast, easy, and secure way to pay for online or in-person transactions. So I want you to remember this trifecta: fast, easy, and secure. Okay, and so based on a contactless payment system, the Apple Pay feature allows users to tap their phone against a card reader and pay for items as stores at different stores, on websites, and in apps. And you can also use Apple Cash to quickly exchange money with your friends and family over text. So how do you use Apple Pay on iPhone? You can actually set up Apple Pay on your iPhone and use your cards in minutes, if not seconds. I mean, we are speaking about speed here, and it's also important to understand that you have to actually, of course, if you are using Apple Pay on the iPhone, you still have to actually comply with some basic rules when it comes to security, when it comes to making sure that you can authenticate the recipient of the transaction, but also security in terms of your phone. Because if your phone is compromised, you are going to have problems later on if you are trying to exchange money or other other forms of transactions with third parties. One thing I want to say here is that into this conversation, I really want to talk to you about how to add a card to your Apple Wallet, how to use Apple Pay at a store, how to use Apple Pay in apps and online, because this is a really a major development, especially during COVID. It was kind of crazy where a lot of folks wanted to use Apple Pay in apps and online. So I also want to explain to you how to use Apple Pay at a gas pump. So this could be a very relevant, especially if you are traveling like during this holidays. You can also send and receive Apple Cash, and you can select a different card for Apple Pay. So that's kind of cool. So let's talk about how to add a card to your Apple Wallet. So to start using Apple Pay, you want to open the wallet app on your iPhone and sign in with your Apple ID. Very, very straightforward, nothing really complicated. And from there, you can apply for an Apple Card, which is really a credit card issued by Goldman Sachs that earns 2% to 3% cashback every time you tap it. Of course, you have to actually qualify for this credit card though. Or you can actually load one of or your existing debit or credit cards by following the steps. So you want to tap the plus sign in the top right corner of the wallet app. You want to scroll down to debit or a credit card and just click it. Click continue. And then what you want to do is you want to line up your card in the white rectangle, ensuring that your name and credit card number are in view. They have to be in view. From there, it will take you to the card details window where you can manually input your card's expiration date and also the CVV, so the 3 or 4 digit security code. And then you have to complete the card verification process by actually confirming your text message, email, and your bank's phone number. I mean, this is a process where actually Apple wants to do a 2FA or MFA, so let's say two-factor authentication or multi-factor authentication. So when you're done, Apple will contact the card issuer for approval and add the card to your digital wallet. If by any chance you add multiple cards, remember to set the one you use most as your default card, because you always have to have this default card, okay? And what about using Apple Pay at a store? Well, you can use Apple Pay to make contactless payments at participating brick and mortar retail stores. To do this, actually, you want to double click the lock button on the right side of your iPhone. Use Face ID or Touch ID to verify your identity. Hold your phone up to the contactless reader and wait for Done to appear on the screen. Also, remember to bring another form of payment in case the store where you're shopping is not really set up for Apple Pay, or let's say their reader is actually down. So you always want to have a plan B. Think about plan B all the time. I want to talk to you about using Apple Pay in apps and online. So you can also use Apple Pay for online transactions or even to cover fees and subscriptions associated with any apps that you download from the App Store. And so here's how you want to do it. So first, you want to tap the button that says Apple Pay. The exact phrasing may vary depending on the app or website. And you want to choose between pay in full and pay later. Select the card you want to use, and this is actually important because if you have multiple cards and you want to actually use a specific card, you have to select that. Confirm the phone number and shipping address, then choose a shipping method, and also double-click the lock button to verify your identity with Face ID or Touch ID. So that's pretty straightforward. Let's talk about using Apple Pay at a gas pump. I mean, this is an important element, whether you are on, let's say, on the highway or you are at a regular route, regular road, and you're just trying to really use your Apple Pay at a gas pump. Pretty straightforward too. So what you want to do is you want to look for an Apple Pay or contactless pay symbol on the gas pump. And I mean, some gas pumps are equipped with it, some don't. So, basically, don't be afraid to ask to ask the operator, the gas pump operator, if they have it. But if you find it, here is how to prepay. So you want to double click the lock button on the right side of your iPhone. Use a Face ID or Touch ID to verify your identity. It's always important to use a Face ID or Touch ID to verify your identity. And you want to actually hold your phone up to the contactless reader on the gas pump, because the thing is that the system has to read it has to communicate with your iPhone to make sure that you are indeed the right person authorizing the transaction. And you have to wait for a done message to appear on the screen. So you have to see done on the screen. Otherwise, the transaction didn't go through. That's why you have to be patient here. I want to talk to you about how to send and receive Apple Cash. And so when we talk about Apple Cash, we actually have we had an entire show focused on Apple Cash. But I just want to quickly say that when you think about Apple Cash, I want you to think about flexibility. I want you to think about speed as well. So Apple Cash is for exchanging money with people you know instead of paying a business. Okay, so it works similarly to mobile payment services like Cash App, Venmo, and Zelle. However, you can only use it if both the sender and receiver have an Apple device. And if both parties have an Apple device, here is how to exchange money. So what you want to do is you want to open the Messages app and choose a conversation thread. You want to click the plus sign beside the iMessage window. So you will see the plus sign just beside, or in some cases, you can have it below the iMessage window. And select Apple Cash. Next, you want to hit plus or minus to set a dollar amount. So this is where you have to be very specific. I mean, you can also there are some cases where Apple will allow you to set let's say a comma. Now you can have thousands and also cents, by the way, or you can touch Show Keypad to open a window with numerical keys that you can use to enter the amount. Then you want to choose whether you want to request or send the amount. After you click send, either approve or cancel the payment. Next, you want to double click the lock button on the right side of your phone. And here you have to use a Face ID or Touch ID again to approve the transaction. And if you don't see Apple Cash as an option in Messages, go to Settings, tap Wallet and Apple Pay, and check if Apple Cash is actually toggled on. So this is kind of important to think about. You can see on the screen here. Here is the numerical keypad that I was just talking about a little earlier. So it's one of those things where you have to, in case you want to have things done simpler, you can actually have that within your iPhone, and it's pretty straightforward, nothing really complicated. And but most important thing is that you have to validate, you have to authenticate the transaction at the end with Touch ID or Face ID. Otherwise, the transaction is not going to be recorded. Now, there are cases where you might want to select a different card for Apple Pay, right? It really depends on what you want to really specify. So that's really an important element to think about. And by the way, when we think about selecting a different card for Apple Pay, you can actually have all four card categories, all four credit card categories, from American Express all the way to Discover, also a Visa and Mastercard. I mean, there used to be a time when Apple wasn't really processing Discover card transactions, but now everything is fine. So Apple Wallet always defaults to a single card. That's why I was just telling you a little earlier that you have to specify the default card that you want Apple Pay to actually resort to. So if for any reason you decide you want to use a different one, you want to follow these steps. So what you want to do is you want to double click the lock button on the right side of your phone to open Apple Wallet. You want to tap the stack of cards at the bottom of the screen to open the list of cards saved in your digital wallet. So you have to see all the cards. Please take the time to actually go through the cards and make sure that those are the cards that you want to actually validate. Okay, if not, delete cards from the list. And here you want to select the card of your choice. Then the list will automatically collapse, and you will see the chosen card display front and center. That way you know, okay, this is the card. And so you can see on the screen here, I'm showing you like we have a discovery card. So this is actually, in our hypothetical example, the default card. And finally, here you want to double click the lock button on the right side of your phone again to verify your identity and make the payment. So again, it's all about validating and authenticating the transaction. One thing I want to say here is that be very careful if you have a joint credit card, or you're using your phone with like if you're sharing your phone number or your contract with a family member. It's important to make sure that whatever card you have here, he or she also has it on her phone, because otherwise Apple will actually find a conflict and may or may not approve the transaction, or even the adding of the phone to the digital wallet. Let's talk about how to use Apple Pay on Apple Watch, because Apple Watch has been very, very popular lately. A lot of folks, especially during COVID, have actually resorted to Apple Watch. So this is a great conduit that we also want to explore. So after actually using Apple Pay on your watch is a lot like using it on your phone, really. The primary differences lie in your options for adding cards and verifying purchases. Okay, so let's talk about it. So one thing for sure, just make sure that you the same security features that you apply to your Apple Watch, you also apply them to your your iPhone and all the other Apple products that you have, tablets or So you first want to set up Apple Pay. After you add a card to your wallet on iPhone, you will see a screen that says Add to Apple Watch. And to complete this process, turn on your Bluetooth and click Add Now. Or you can click actually Done and add it to your Apple Watch later. I mean, it really depends on the timing. And you can add it later using one of the options that we're going to show on the screen here. Here is how to add a card to the digital wallet on your Apple Watch using your iPhone. First, you want to go to the Watch app. Scroll and tap Wallet and Apple Pay. Find other cards on your phone. And what happens here is that you want to be very specific here. You want to locate the card you want to add on your Apple Watch and click Add. Now note that your Apple Watch must be on and unlocked for the card to sync. Otherwise, it will not sync. Okay. And you also want to enter your credit card's CVV code, your 3-digit or your 4-digit code, security code, and you want to complete the card verification process. So that's important to think about. Or this is another option I want to share with you here. You can add a card to the Apple Wallet using your Apple Watch. So here's how you do it. You want to click the digital crown on the right side of the watch. Scroll down and tap Wallet. You want to select Add Card. And note, your Apple Watch may prompt you to enter the password to your Apple ID. So that's important to think about it that way. And you want to choose Continue and add card details, including your full name, the card number, and the CVV. Let me explain to you how to actually One thing for sure, when all is said and done, you can set the new card as a default card in your wallet or select Not Now. If you did everything correctly, you should see the new card listed on the payment cards on your watch in the watch app. How do you pay at a store or a gas pump with an Apple Watch? Well, a lot of times it's easier to use your Apple Watch to make a contactless payment while you are out and about than it is to dig around for the card you want. And so basically, you want to double click the digital crown on the right side of your watch, twist the digital crown to choose the card you want to use, and hold the watch display near the contactless reader until you feel a tap or hear a beep. Now, I have spoken to you today about the Apple Pay a lot, but basically, I really want to compare and contrast Apple Pay to Apple Cash so we have a clear idea what we're speaking about. Now, Apple Pay is a mobile payment service built into Apple products like iPhones, iMacs, MacBooks, and iPads. It really enables users to make secure contactless payments using the cards saved in their Apple Wallet. However, you can use Apple Pay at stores, brick and mortar, and online, only with compatible point of sale systems. And so when we talk about the difference between Apple Pay and Apple Cash is part of the Apple Pay ecosystem, but works more as a prepaid debit card. So after you connect your debit card, you can send and receive money virtually like you would with Cash App or Zelle. This means what? It means that you can actually easily transfer money to pay a babysitter, and that's kind of cool to have that flexibility, to pay a babysitter, split a restaurant bill, or cover other person-to-person expenses. And so Apple Pay actually is a free contactless payment service for Apple users. And Apple Pay can work a bit differently between devices and depending on what you are doing. But what we have seen is that the process usually goes something like this. So you add your cards to your digital wallet to access them online and in stores. You verify your identity with Face ID, Touch ID, or your device's passcode to prove that you are the primary cardholder or an authorized user. And you complete the transaction by double-clicking the button on the right side of your device twice and holding close to the contactless card reader. So that's kind of that's the gist of it. And Apple Pay is secure, and Apple actually promises to protect users' personal data. So because Apple uses unique transaction codes, so your card is never stored on your device or even Apple servers. Merchants can't see your card number during or after transactions. Users can hide their emails to protect their personal information and stop spam. And Apple Pay uses a contactless system that allows users to pay without using card terminals or even exchanging cash, which really, when you think about it, protects them from credit card fraud and scams. And you can use Apple Pay at a lot of stores, restaurants, healthcare facilities, grocery stores, gas stations, and more. So that's kind of that's really good. So just make sure that you always see the sign. Okay, you always have to you have to hold your device up to the terminal to see if it really accepts the payments. Okay, it's important to really think about it that way, especially when you're thinking about when you have large transactions happening here. So here's the epilogue. Into this conversation, I explained to you how to use Apple Pay online and in stores. So I give you the preface and now the epilogue. Thank you so much. God bless you. I'll see you next time. Until then, remember, stay marvelous.